goals should be fucking scary. They should be bigger than what you think you can do because they actually make you become a new person. They challenge you. They actually make you show up for things that you wouldn't do.
Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the Be It Till You See It interview recap, where my co-host in life, Brad, and I are going to dig into the thought-provoking convo I had with Jake Kauffman in our last episode. If you haven't yet listened to that interview, feel free to pause this now, go back and listen to that one, and then come back and join us. So fun. Jake is a friend. We know him. We get to spend some time together. We kind of briefly chatted about him in a previous podcast. We're talking about Enneagram, and Carrie Ford is his partner. So lots of amazing people coming through the pod because we have amazing friends, Brad. It's so fun. Today, you all, is October 19th, 2023. If you're listening to this in real time, which means it is Conflict Resolution Day. And according to this day in the calendar, it says conflicts tend to arise in many areas of our life, such as workplaces, relationships, and families. It's an unavoidable process of life. What is important, however, is how we resolve it. Conflict resolution does not have to be nasty. It can be resolved through peaceful methods. So do you have any conflicts that are stressing you out? You can actually call or text us. Really?
Yeah.
And share your conflict.
Yeah.
And we can give advice.
Yeah. So we'll keep it neutral.
I love it. Actually, we should give advice. I listen to Don't Ask Tig and I listen to Elijah Schlesinger, and they give advice on conflicts all the time.
All the time.
And you know what I love? I love to see if what they answer I agree with. And typically with Eliza, we're on point. I'm going to tell her that to her face someday. Tig, not always. No.
Not so much.
But I love Tig Notaro. She's so nice. But this last episode, I listened to them. I didn't agree with any advice they gave out. So
that's pretty funny.
That's pretty funny. So you can text us. We have a number to text us. +1 323 546 6042. I would not have chose that phone number, guys. It's too many numbers.
We might change it, but for now you can text us there.
It should be like blah 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 be it pod. It should be it should just spell it out. I know that the kids today,
I'll tell the producers to get their shit together.
The kids today don't know how to use a phone.
No, they
numbers.
do not know what T9 texting is. No.
Oh my gosh. I told little McKenna, because her favorite word is poop. And I told her, I said, hey, my favorite coffee shop's bathroom code is 7667. And I said, do you know what that means? And she's like, no. And I was like, it spells poop. And she's like, I don't understand how that's possible. And I was like, okay, let me explain your phone to you. So anyways, if you have conflicts that are stressing you out, you can call or text us at 323-546-6042, and we'll give you some advice. We'll put it in the question section. I think that's really fun. I do want to say something about conflict. That is, I'm not good at this yet, but I remember our coaches from a while back saying do you want to win? Is it important to you that you are right or that you work it out? And the thing is that sometimes in conflicts, we just want the person to go, you're right. And that's rarely gonna, unless the other person is also enlightened and understands, it's rare. There are people in your life, you can probably pick them out right now, that even if you share how something makes you feel, they're never going to go, oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm the asshole. It's just not going to happen. That's why there's a conflict there. But you have to kind of go, okay, do I need to be right or do I just need to work this out? And it doesn't mean compromising yourself, but it might mean just not bringing up 17 things that are bothering you and just going here's the thing that I really need you to change so that we can stop being late. As opposed to you're late and you're overbearing and you call too much and you're all these things. What is the one thing that would really, if they could change that, could actually make the relationship better?
Yeah, that sounds pretty personal, but just kidding.
What? It's not about you, but are you feeling guilty about being late all the time?
Maybe.
Whoa, maybe. Someone's guilty. You guys, this is how my dad handles the conflict with Brad. He says, my dad says to Brad every fucking time to get in the car. Not 5 minutes early or 5 minutes late.
Right. And I tell them, if you're early, you're early.
Yeah.
Or you're going to be on time. We're going to be on time. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we would happily give you some advice on how you can be it till you see it while trying to resolve your conflict. So
yeah,
give
so
us
fun.
Text us at +1 323 546 6042.
Well, we said it so many times, people were like, hold on, repeat that one more time. And we did it. But do you see how they
We'll
don't
put that
flow
in the
together?
show notes.
They don't flow together.
Yeah, it's not a flow number. No,
my work phone number is really flowy. Like I looked at 10 numbers
it's
and I was
flowy.
like, this is the one. Okay, so this week we're still in Cambodia,
y'all, and loving it. In fact,
we're getting the house ready for next year as well, because we'll have a retreat in October of next year. And if you are on the wait list for that retreat, you're going to get the best price. Like you'll get the best price. So because our wait listers get the early bird price.
Yeah. So basically, get yourself on that wait list by going to leslielogan.co/retreat. We will be announcing all that stuff the beginning of next year. So bright and early next year, probably January is what we'd be looking at. So we'll start sending some emails out about that at the end of December to get you prepared.
If you're on the wait list, I send you an email every month letting you know what's going on. In fact, people on the wait list already have the dates saved. They are like, we really help you out because we know it takes a lot to plan a big trip. And we have people who are already planning on coming. So it's possible that it sells out really quickly. So you're going to want to make sure on that wait list. Yeah.
Things are starting to get busy again with our retreats. So don't wait on this. Right now, we're still only running one a year. And there's only room for 20. So, don't sit on that. All right, moving on.
November. You can sign up for Chicago when you hear this if there's any spots left. So each the classes only have spots for 12, and the workshops only have space for 24. That might sound like a lot of people. It's not a lot of people because it's Chicago and there's a lot of fucking people in there. So you're gonna want to go to beitpod.com/Chicago to snag your spot. That's beitpod.com/Chicago. Erica Quest and I are teaching a team workshop, classical and contemporary collides. I'm teaching a workshop on how to build your tower and springboard class. I have a master class there. I'm so excited to be teaching in Chicago. This is going to be a lot of fun. So we'll be back and it's great. And then in December, I will have details on my workshops in Frisco, Texas, the first weekend of December with Erica Quest soon. First people there's like a group of people get to sign up first. Sorry, don't get mad. They're inviting us, so they get first tips. But then we'll be on tour. So we have already planned this out. By the time you're hearing this, we already have the cities locked in. We already have the things. And in fact, we probably are already marketing some of those said cities right now. But at the time we're recording this, we're still putting those things in place. But it's our biggest, baddest tour ever. And I'm so fucking excited about it.
It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be amazing.
We're going to be basically rolling out cities as we confirm them, right? So consistently check back. There may be a city near you. Mm-hmm. We're going to do 7,000 miles on this upcoming tour, which is very ambitious. And we have people who are all like, we have some members who already know we're not coming to their city. And we're like, oh, we're hoping to go to this city. And they're like 2 hours away. I'm going to make that happen. When do you think it's going to be? I'm going to start blocking my day out. Yeah.
So we're driving 7,000 miles. You could drive 100. I'm just saying.
Yes, we'll guilt you into that. Yes.
Yeah. Conflict resolution right there.
But in the meantime, get yourself on our wait list for our events. Go to opc.me/event, opc.me/event.
Yeah, then you won't have to worry about missing anything with like socials or emails or whatever, because it is the holidays. It gets crazy. Before we get into talking about Jake Kauffman, do we have an audience question?
We totally do. This came from IG. Thanks so much for asking. The question is, I started an online platform because my social media has a good following, but I feel like it's turning into a full-time job. Does it ever simply become a side hustle?
It's someone's full-time job. Whether it's yours or not is a different story. But this question I really loved, and I actually chatted a little bit about it on Instagram, and I got a lot of people going, oh my God, I feel so seen, because my answer was, yeah, it's multiple people's full-time jobs. So Brad can I
can definitely attest. I mean, the second person in our company that we ever hired was to begin supporting the online platform. And that was a video editor, right?
Yes.
And we brought her in and she said, I need 5 hours of work a week. I said, perfect. I'm offloading the editing of these classes to you. And so she was editing 2 classes every single week. But that was like the second person that we hired. Today, our team has grown to more than 20.
Yeah.
Not all of them are working on full time on the online platform,
No.
but there are I don't know,
But
like 7 to 10 people who are working on the platform.
Here's
all,
the hats
all the time.
Here's the hats I still wear for OPC. I'm still the content creator. I'm still the social media manager and content creator of that content. I am still the marketing head of said things.
Yeah, so you're writing the emails.
I'm writing the emails. Yeah. I am creating the classes. I'm the person filming the classes.
Yeah, plus you're planning stuff out too, right?
Yeah,
like
and
special events
and I also
all these
have
other things.
I also brought on other teachers thinking that would actually help me out, but I still have to manage them and approve their classes and approve their stuff and their ideas. And I'm still the person who comes up with all the workshops and all the things. So I still have a heavy workload, and sometimes I'm customer service because people don't go to customer service. They'll come to me and I'm like, they come to my DMs, and it's not like I don't want to go fuck you, but I want to go, I have no idea what your password is. Like, I don't know. I don't know what you bought that with. Did you put your right email in? So I'm sometimes customer service. And then we have Brad, who runs the team. We have a project manager who makes sure everything happens on time. We have a full-time editor, someone who literally edits so much that he is full fucking time. And we are not even putting out the same amount of content that like Plies Anytime or any of the other people are. We also have a full-time customer service person, and we have Emma. She's like total strategist when it comes to ads and things like that. And conversion. And we have somebody who schedules those said newsletters. We like, it is insane.
All of that said, listen, don't cry for me, Argentina. That's not what we're not putting this out there.
No.
You know, we're not trying to make you feel bad for us, but we are definitely saying that what started as what we thought was going to be a side hustle and forever recurring revenue.
Oh, yeah.
It was not realistic for us to have those expectations because, you know, now we're 5 years into this project. And the fact is, in order for us to go bigger, to go better, to get better quality stuff, to be more consistent with our deliverables, to make our website easier to use, to make sure that everybody stays informed.
I forgot the developers. I forgot
to make sure that we're getting, people the support that they need to use the membership. It's turned into a hell of a project, and we're quite proud of it. But not in any way, shape, or form is it a side hustle.
Yeah, and I love that you pointed out. It's like, don't cry for me. My friend Erica Hood, she's been on the show before. She actually said, yes, everything you said on this Instagram thing is true, and I still would do it. And so you just have to ask yourself, it's that idea of like, choose your shit sandwich. Like, life is basically some amazing bread and some sort of like awesome things that you love, you know, like you love a certain sauce, you love a certain salad, you love a certain cheese, some shit in the middle, some more good stuff, and some bread, right? So there's always going to be a trade-off. Everything, it's called balance. So you just have, like, you decide if that's what you want. If you're like, I hate technology, or I hate social media, or I don't want to wear all these hats, there's other ways of making an income stream. But don't, I wish we had known at the time it wasn't a side hustle. I wish we would have known, like, we are stepping into a full-time hustle.
It's a hungry baby, right? And what we mean by that is it actually never grows up. You're always going to be producing content for it. So if you're looking for something that could become a side hustle, you want something that has a start and a stop to it, so that it's like a course or a webinar, and then you can focus on
a workout series.
But it'd be a course or a webinar. It's a start and a stop, right? So like it could be a sequence of things. The point is that it's not consistently requiring new content. And then what you can do is you can make the most amazing, incredible, fantastic, super over deliverable content once. Yeah. And then you can focus on the marketing aspect of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that would be far more of a side hustle than a membership.
And if you are wanting to dive into this, we do all this inside of Agency. So you can go to profitablepilates.com/agency to check that out. If you want to book a call and see if Agency is the right thing that's for you, then reach out to the team. You can use that phone number that we repeated 17 times.
No, don't use that one.
Don't use that phone number. Okay.
So on the Agency page is a place to book a call with me.
Oh, book a call. Yeah. And that way you can just see, because it's important that you know these things so that you can actually make the right decision for you based on your goals. So thanks. You can send your questions into the Beit Pod. You can use you can use the phone number for that.
You can, yes.
And you can use Instagram or anything that we find the Beit Pod on, and send your questions and we'll answer them.
Okay, now let's talk about Jacob Kauffman. Mr. Jake Kauffman is an author, international men's transformation coach, and spiritual mentor. He delved deep into the complexities of human motivation and self-worth, specifically his own, to write his new book in order to help men align with their deepest truth and authentic self.
I loved a lot. It was really fun. I thought there was some really good stuff in there. And so he talked a lot. My favorite thing, I think, was probably like readiness is not a state of being. Readiness is a decision. And I
thought that was pretty powerful too.
I'm like, done. Interview done. That's enough. Just put that on repeat over and over again. It's a mantra. Like, because we hear this all the time. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'll join when I'm ready. I'll do this when I'm ready. And it's like, just even saying those things out loud, you can clearly hear that readiness is a decision. It's not a state of being. And like Angie Lee is always about, I think she's even writing a book called Ready is a Lie, because the point that you actually do feel ready for things is when you're almost, it's not like you're too late to the game, but like you're feeling ready because so many people have done what you were thinking of doing that now it feels safe, or you have, like your goal of that thing is no longer scary to you. And, you know, we've talked to so many people about goals should be fucking scary. They should be bigger than what you think you can do, because they actually make you become a new person. They challenge you, and they actually make you show up for things that you wouldn't do, you know? So I'm like, I loved it. Like that's enough for me to love, but there's a couple other things in here, but I don't know. I just really think that is brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I think even just in relationships and stuff, you know, I remember after my ex, right away, I was like, I'm not ready. So I like was 100% unavailable. I didn't go out on dates. I didn't talk to people about it. I did nothing. Right. And when we met, even after we started seeing each other for, you know, on and off again for roughly 6 months. And even then I didn't feel ready, you know, to make it an official, real, consistent thing. And that if I had trusted my feelings, I don't think we ever would have gotten together, because I would have continued to break up with you.
Yeah, you already broke with me twice. There was not going to be a third time.
But there was a point where it had to be a decision, and the decision was in direct conflict with the way I felt, which was weird, because it became this like heart versus head scenario of, you know, the logical Brad looked at everything written down on paper and was like, yes, but why do I feel afraid? Right. And that was the crux of it for me, because I was like, well, I should be ready, but I don't feel it. But I know that I know that 1 + 1 = 2 here, but why does it feel like 1 + 1 = 3? It feels like 1, you know, and that clearly isn't right. So it became this really internal struggle. But that's why I really appreciated what he was talking about with readiness. Is it's not a state of being. Readiness is a decision that you make. And so when we started dating, I was like, I am ready to date, even though I don't feel like I'm ready.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Actually.
I'm glad. I'd be surprised if you didn't.
I remember being dumped twice.
I'm sure it was confusing for you.
You know, the most confusing thing was when you gave me a present and then you told me not to read into it. I was like, that's so weird.
I did that. I did do that.
So strange.
Yeah.
But it was a decision for you. I think it was also a decision. I remember that being a decision for me as well, because I remember when you decided that you were like ready to try. And I was like, oh, there's dog food at my house for a dog that's not mine. And there's things here for the next time you come. Am I ready for this? And I was like, well, it's a decision we're making. Here we go. So I think I joke a lot, like the reason this podcast even exists, Be It Till You See It, is because I don't often feel ready for most of the things we decide to do. I like actually joke that there's a lot of times I feel like, you know, when you're at the top of the roller coaster and like you get to like, it's like, I don't know. I did Six Flags a lot, and they have this old roller coaster where it's like clink, ka-clink,
yeah,
ka-clink.
Clink,
and like
clink,
with each
clink,
one,
clink, clink,
it
clink,
builds
clink,
up
clink,
this
clink,
like, yeah, but it builds up this like, there's nerves, there's excitement, there's fear.
Oh,
there's like
true. That anticipation.
Like, when are we at
I wonder
the
if that's
top?
on purpose. I mean, I know it's the mechanics of the thing, but I wonder if they thought about the psychology.
I think the new ones do it just for the fuck of it. I don't think they actually need to make those noises, but the old ones make those noises, right? And so But I find that everything we do, I feel like I am going, with my arms up, and I'm just like, here we go. I have no idea where this roller coaster is going. And like, I say all that because I don't ever actually feel ready, but I also know that I can't go back. Like, I know too much. You know what I mean? Like I have this idea, I have this goal, I have this thing, I have to see it out. And so I actually feel uncomfortable trying things. Like, you know this from me, like how annoying was I when I was like, we need this podcast, and you're like, no, we have to wait another year. And I'm like, we have to do this podcast. Like, I just could not let it go because I had to do it, because I had this idea. I could see how it could work, and I was scared as fuck, but I had to do those things. And so I find like that the simple way of thinking of readiness as a decision versus like a state of being is really, really unique and a great way to summarize things. And I hope that everyone listening to this goes, okay, make a fucking decision. Like, even if you decide not to do something, that's fine. But the state of like being in between and waffling is really uncomfortable and very stressful. I'm sure you were very stressed out trying to decide if you should date me or not. I know, because you called me to talk about it after you broke up with me. Anyways, we should move on to what you liked.
Moving right along. Okay, so one thing I thought was really interesting was Jake was talking about happiness and the state of happiness and the pursuit of happiness, and how it's kind of a shallow goal. And I wanted to talk about that a little more because there's one thing specifically that resonated with me. First off, he talked about how happiness is kind of short-lived. It's a moment, and it's not like an ongoing state. You know, and so that's why when we can trick ourselves into feeling happy by achieving a goal, and then we turn into a goal driven. It's a goal-driven society that we live in already. But if you're like allowing yourself to hit a goal, which is a good thing, not a bad thing, but when you hit a goal, we feel good. But then what? We go, like, you and I are workaholics, and by nature, it's just how we are. And we never leave ourselves time between what we just did and the next thing to appreciate what we just did. So we feel happy for like just a brief moment. And then we're like back to the grindstone because we got another goal we have to hit over the next hill.
I don't love workaholic. And I also don't totally agree with all of that. But I do understand that we could spend more time celebrating more. Yes.
Yeah, but I don't. Well, that's not even my point.
Yeah.
My point is that if our life turns into goal to goal to goal to goal to goal, and you know, then we're constantly driving ourselves, you know, to hit that goal, and then ultimately, like, you know, ultimately that's not sustainable. It leads to depression.
Correct.
You know, it leads to you judging yourself, beating yourself up. Right. And so
I definitely feel like in 2020, when we did like 3 agency minis, that's the only time we've ever done 3 in a year. I felt like, okay, we are not sitting in the moment of celebrating what is happening, and we are putting ourselves through too much. And I think sometimes you have to some people might have to do too much to understand where that line is. And to really understand, like, oh, okay, that's more than I can handle. Now let me take a step back. And I agree, like, you have to celebrate those moments. Otherwise, what are you doing it for?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, I just thought it was interesting I grew up in the church, and they talked a lot about this idea of contentedness. Right. And I always thought it was a little cheesy. And I always thought it was like, you know, it was an opportunity for people to slack off and call that normal. Like, oh, I'm being content, but I'm not actually doing anything. Right. And so I think that's like the wrong way to look at that, first off, like today. But I also think that that's like a completely other side of the coin, where it's like you're going from goal to goal to goal to goal to goal, or you're like doing nothing. Those are like the two extremes.
Yeah.
And I wonder if there's a way that we could marry the two, you know, like meet in the middle. And
I think you're wanting to look for balance, and we already know that that's not real. But I remember the church. I remember like people saying you're never content. And I remember going, why the fuck should I be? This is not good enough. And I think contentment is something that you get to define what that is. And it's absolutely fucking okay if what you're in right now is not something you want to be content with.
Yeah, that's
However, if you are not ever taking a moment to give reflect back on what you have fucking done, you are going to burn out.
Right. Yeah.
But I do think like,
I don't think I have the answer for this, you know.
I know. I think it's individual, but I do understand. I hate, like, I just want to be happy.
Well, yeah.
I feel like that's a decision too. I feel like happiness is a decision. You can be, when we were in LA, I met many a happy homeless person. I'm gonna be really honest. Not everyone, but there was some people who were like truly kind.
You know what?
And nice.
I wonder if we could amend, if we had a further conversation with Jake, maybe we would amend that statement that happiness is fleeting. Maybe its goal, like achieving goals, is fleeting, right? And the happiness is where you and what you can find between the goals.
Well, I think
because you talked about this idea of chasing rainbows, and not that like rainbows are. I mean, I don't know if I agree with that, because rainbows, you never actually catch them.
No,
goals
we tried.
You can catch.
We passed one.
We did. We actually went under one, and we were like, we did. It's gone.
It's gone. It's gone. I was trying to film it. It was like, I don't know, we're crazy. But I actually, here's the thing. Remember when we had James Patrick on, and he was talking about how the goal cannot be, I get a magazine cover. The goal,
because you don't have control over that.
The goal has to be the actions that I take that I have control over.
Yeah.
And I think most people's goals, including what they define as happiness, have way too much to do with the things they have no control over.
Sure.
And that's why it's shallow, or maybe that's not the best word, but fleeting.
Well, no, I think even if you achieve it, I want to get, whatever it is in your life, whether it's a business move you're making, or a car you need to buy, or a school you want to go to, or whatever, like you did it, you got that, and then what we're taught as a society is like, what's next? And that's, I think, is the issue, because that's where it's the quote unquote chasing rainbows, because you're just jumping from goal to goal to goal.
Every woman listening to this understands this, because it's like, oh, you're dating? When are you getting married? Oh,
right.
Engaged?
Oh, congratulations.
When's the wedding day?
When are you having kids?
When are you
kids? Moving? When are you buying a house? Oh, great. Oh, when are you do this?
Oh my God. You know what I loved so much when we bought this house? We actually, talk about fleeting. We literally fucking signed way too many papers, you guys, and then got on a flight at 2 in the fucking morning. So not even 8 hours later from signing the papers on this house, we got on a plane to go to Korea. And thank fucking God for our amazing coworkers and friends. They're not they're just colleagues, actually. They all made a point to make sure they celebrated us buying our house, because we weren't at home to celebrate buying our house.
Right. We were gone for 2 more weeks.
And I really just appreciated them all so much. I don't think that they even know the power of what that was, but just that every single day, somebody there was like, oh my God, congratulations on your house. And I just felt like that was so special. And so maybe we can actually do is, it's really hard to understand yourself in your celebration. But what if the people around you help them celebrate what they achieved more, and even later, even a week after, hey, I saw this, congratulations, so that you can kind of help. Because if you do that for them, it's reciprocity. They're going to do it for you. They're going to realize how good it is. And again, I don't think happiness should ever be the fucking goal. I do go back to how can we be the best fucking person that we can ever be, so that the people around us lives are better because we're in it. And that goes to this book that he wrote. He wrote this book to help people based on what he experienced in his life and what he learned, so he could pay that forward. And I think that that's whether you read a book, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a parent, whatever, we're all actually just trying to leave, I hope, I don't know. But I like to think that if you're listening to this podcast, we're all trying to leave this world a better place than we found it. And that's a fucking great goal, rather than happiness being the goal. Anyways, I guess we pontificated a little bit.
It's okay.
That's what the recap's for.
That's what we're here for. Stick around. All right, so finally, let's talk about those beit action items. What bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted action items can we take away from your convo with Jacob Kauffman? So ironically, we talked about goals, but we didn't talk about the the achievement of the goals, instead we talk about the challenge of the work that you do to achieve the goal, right? So double your goals is what Jake was talking about. So, he said, if you have a goal, write it down and then double it. So if it's monetary or quantitative, you can literally just put ×2. If it is time sensitive, cut the time in half, and challenge yourself, because he said we often set safe goals for ourselves as well. And the safe goal would be like, I think I'm going to write a book in 5 years.
Yeah.
Right. And he's like, what if you did it in 2.5? Or what if you did it instead of 12 months, you did it in 6 months? Right. And I thought that was cool because, not that we want to focus on only the achievement of the goal, although we do believe in celebrating your wins, and achieving a goal is a win. But in this case, what we're talking about is challenging yourself with the actions that you're taking. And, he said that most people set goals that are, we'd be surprised at what we can do if we actually pushed ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I actually really enjoyed like cutting the time in half or doubling the goal. I think I talked about this with an episode that's coming out soon with Michael and Broken. We brought him back. He has a massive goal of having 10 New York Times bestsellers.
That's a massive goal.
It's a massive goal. And he definitely has not cut the time in half, but I would say that's a fucking huge goal that like really challenges him to be a different person. But it made me think of, and her name is escaping me still, and I think you could help me. Remember the woman who we had on the pod in a webinar who wanted to do like the bold, like bodacious, like not bodacious, but like the bad, like the bigger than God goals. Like that was her whole thing. Do you remember her? Joanna Vargas referred her, and Helena is it's a beautiful name, and I can't think of her name, but she talked about having these goals that are so beyond what you actually could figure out on your own, so that the universe actually has to step in and meet you with your preparation. And I really I think this is what that makes me think of, because sometimes we work with people all the time. They're like, I want to make $30,000. And look, there's nothing fucking wrong with you only want to make $30,000. But when you're paying me 10% of that, I want you to make a little bit more, because I know what taxes are. I know what costs are. So I think sometimes we play small because we want to actually hit the goal. And we forget that like the journey along the way, like if you set a goal for 60,000 and you make 45, that's still fucking amazing. And because what you had to become to do that is way bigger than the person who had to make 30,000.
Yeah, it really pushes you. And I think one more comment about this. Jake said to write these down. First off, what is your goal? Then double your goal. And he said also write down, this is the actions that you're going to take, and the reasoning behind it. Why do I want this goal? Answer the question. What will this enable or empower me to do? And then, only then, how am I going to get it done?
Yeah.
Right. So that's it.
I do like the how being after the why, and what will this will enable me to do. So now
there was one more step, and I thought it was, it's really poignant.
Yeah,
so,
this is mine.
Yes.
You're going to make a contract with yourself.
Yep.
You're actually going to write down then your name. I'm officially unavailable for any other outcome. And then you sign it and you date it, and then by when you'll accomplish it. So that you are solidifying the commitment and ensuring accountability. This clear intention and timeline will help. And I think this is actually really cool, because even if you fucking miss your deadline, if you were actually taking the steps to get there on time, you fucking won anyways. Like, deadlines have to get moved all the fucking time. But if you are moving the deadline because you actually were taking the actions, but you just need more time, and you didn't know it or whatever, that's fine. If you keep changing the deadline because you didn't actually take the actions, that means you didn't really want it anyways. Like, that's you're procrastinating for a reason. Yeah. So,
and I think there's something really interesting about the idea of making a commitment to yourself, making a contract with yourself, because it levels it up. It takes it to it puts you in a position where you take it more seriously. And I think it's really easy for us to be like, if I don't tell anybody about it, or if I don't write it down.
Then no one will know.
Then if I fail,
no one will
it doesn't
know.
really matter anyway.
And like, it's fine because it's okay. Like, it's okay if it doesn't happen. Like, the stories you fucking tell yourself.
Right. Or you know what? I really needed to take care of my kids. And so they take precedence over me,
and that's
whatever it
that
is.
Could be true.
Well, no, of course it's true, but it can become like life can become an excuse.
Oh yeah.
And then you don't look at your goals or your thing as something that actually needs to be done. And so when you make a contract with yourself or a commitment to yourself, that's a whole nother level to to the game.
Yeah, you are so right. I've met an amazing woman who has children and shit going on and other shit going on, and they still make their things happen. It's not because they have more money than you. It's not because they had better luck on their side. It's because they literally were like, I'm going to just get up. I'm going to write for fucking 5 minutes. Like, we interviewed somebody who like literally got up at 4 a.m. to write for 1 hour before everyone started waking up because she
but I don't even like the idea of like, oh, just just get up. The people who get up at 5 a.m. are the only ones who succeed and shit. I think that
my point is that they prioritize their goal even with all the shit.
Yes. And that's I agree. And
you could also stay up 1 hour later, or you could do it on your lunch break. Or remember we interviewed what's her name, Kim, who would go into work and she'd write for 15 minutes on her book before she started her work day.
Yeah.
Like, it's just about like, okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. I think that too often we're waiting for perfect circumstances to work on the goal, and that will never, ever happen. The stars are never going to align in this perfect, amazing space. Because you know what's going to happen? You're like, oh my God, I'm just going to lay down and take a nap. I'm so tired. So it's just about going, okay, I only have 5 minutes. I'm going to work on this thing that I truly want for myself for 5 minutes.
Yeah, and I think the consistency of it, that you'll make the decision to be consistent on it when you level up your commitment, and that contract is a really helpful way to do that.
I'm Lesley Logan.
And I'm Brad Crowell.
Thank you so much for listening to us. We are so grateful for you. I can't believe it. What episode? 278? Holy fucking moly. This is brilliant. We would never be here if it wasn't for your ears and your comments and your reviews and your just awesomeness. So thank you so very much. How are you going to use these tips in your life? Are you going to write that contract? We want to know. And send us in your questions or your conflict resolution wonders, and we will answer it on the next podcast. Until then, be it till you see it.
Bye for now.
That's all I've got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day.
Be It Till You See It is a production of the Bloom Podcast Network.
It's written, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell.
It is produced and edited by the epic team at Diseño.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Chofi.
Special thanks to Melissa Solomon for creating our visuals and Samena Velazquez for our transcriptions.
Also to Angelina Herrico for adding all the content to our website, and finally to Meredith Crowell for keeping us all on point and on time.
You can text us. We have a number to text us. +1 323 546 Hold on. +1 323 546 6042. I would not have chose that phone number, guys. It's too many numbers.
Well, listen, we would happily give you some advice on how you can be it till you see it while trying to resolve your conflict. So
yeah, fun.
Text us at +1 323 546 64. Oh God.
See?
I fucked it up too. Okay, so